So today, dude, I'll just show this right away. I got to play in the Age of Sigmar pod, and I got to run my 5 Bloodthirster list, and I did some hobbying yesterday.
No way.
Yeah. See, if you see those bases, they're kind of muddy, and I made this Bloodthirster. Chris actually painted me this guy's axes. I ordered these a long time ago off of eBay,
Oh yeah.
and this was years ago. And this guy has gone through the gamut of damage on this axe and his whip. I spent the time to get that all hobbied up to get him ready for the fight. And then I paint. This is saved from the use case. Look at this Bloodthirster, looking beautiful. He's magnetized. He came from the use case, and he was like just a prime color. I added the copper, and I got a night. I made his face pop with some highlights, and got his skin popping. And I painted up his weapons with some, did some, skulls and shit. But then I got to run those 5 bad boys together, and they took on some cities of Sigmar today. You can guys see my list there. The thing that's cool in Sigmar is that you can only run 4 behemoths, and the Bloodthirsters count as behemoths. But I'm already was taking this dope Bloodthirster only battalion that exists in Sigmar that lets you do this cool situation. I'll tell you in a sec. But to take 5 behemoths, the Wrath of the Everchosen book came out with a special host, a slaughter host, or like a legion that you can take. That's all Bloodthirsters, and it lets you take 5 behemoths instead of just 4. So it's a 5 Bloodthirster legion, and it gives Bloodthirsters advance and charge and a command ability to get +1 to charge, a +1 save on a guy. So it's really nice. Plus being able to get that extra behemoth. And this list, and then you take the Tyrants of Blood battalion, which Scarbrand, of course, is a named Bloodthirster that gets to go in the battalion. And in Sigmar, when you charge with a multi-charge, it's always you go, I go combat. It's never you fight with all your charge models and they fight. It's I fight with the guy, you fight with the guy, I fight with the guy, you fight with the guy. And so
much violence.
Yeah, but in this with this battalion, it lets when one Bloodthirster fights, the rest fight in succession from then on. They all fight in a row, and it's just totally game-changing. Breaks the usual game mechanics. And what's super badass is the 2 Bloodthirsters with the whips. They have a command ability that wholly within 16 inches, any demons that are Khorne, they can do a 6-inch activation and pile in. Where usually in this game, 3 inches is the engagement range. And they have, of course, 2-inch weapons to swing with. And in Sigmar, your combats have melee range and things that are within 2 inches you can hit with it. So what goes down is, even though you don't now with the battalion or the detachment, the Baleful Lords, you can advance and charge your Bloodthirsters. But what can be important is some things have Overwatch, right? And you don't want to charge it. Well, with that 6-inch activation, you can still advance them and get them within that 6 inches and not have to charge, just get to activate by popping that command ability. So it's super powerful to be able to basically advance and charge or be able to get into combat without having to. You can even fall back out of combat and then activate that, and because you're within 6 inches, get to reactivate into a new combat, which is just crazy powerful. And then all the Bloodthirsters fight in succession. Hell, somebody could fail their charge. They get within 3.5 inches of you or whatever. They're like, okay, I'm a double. I got a double ones and I fail, and then they roll double ones, and then you can pile into them and fight first. with the 6-inch activation. And there's a
Why is that not 40k?
It's fucking badass. And there's a relic called the Crimson Crown, which lets you use this stratagem, this command ability, once every turn for free. Or one of your choice. And what's also sick is with this advance and charge mechanic is in Sigmar, when you advance or run, you roll the dice, and if you don't like it, you can turn it to a 6 for 1 command point.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, but command points are few and far between. Here's the Venerator gang I put together just to throw it on the screen. Really stoked. This is some sweet Marauder 40k conversions that my buddy Austin from Team Battle Brothers gave me, and I just love these things. And I had no real port. They were going to be some Space Wolf Scouts or whatever, but they're perfect for Necromunda. I got 15 of these guys, all with crazy loadouts mixed with close combat. And
That's cool.
40k weapons, so perfect bounty hunters. Just to keep show and telling with you guys real quick, man, we did an awesome Crusade battle on the channel. I don't know if you guys got to see it, but James, you made the Space Wolf board for Adepticon when you painted and commissioned my entire Space Wolf army that's on our channel every other day. And here is the 40K Kill Team board that, this is a display board that James made me to Kill Team specs. And it was perfect for Crusade because they changed the board size. Now a 40K table is just four Kill Team boards together. So this display board fits perfectly into one of the segments, and a Crusade board is just 2 Kill Team boards put together. So I took, this is actually what you see on the screen right now is a exclusive mat that came at Adepticon that Games Workshop was giving out. So this is a Games Workshop mat. There was only like 100 of them or whatever. It was pretty cool.
Exclusive.
Got that Adepticon, and then now it's paired with the board there that was made for Adepticon. Really fun, really cool, and we played a sweet Crusade match on that versus Death Guard. Very nice looking army from my friend. Here's some more Crusade that's been cool. The Geller Pox Crusade. I fought a Gargantuan Squigget. Chris actually painted that Gargantuan Squigget.
I paint things sometimes.
Yeah, that was one of your finest works, in my opinion. Maybe just because I love it.
I agree.
I mean, it's really good. You kicked ass on it, dude.
Sometimes I paint good. Sometimes.
Like it was some of your better work. You did the freaking Braveheart stripe on his eyes. You got the tongue and teeth, and like your bone work. You could definitely see your Tyranid skills on the bones and tusk and teeth and just like slimy alien like bits.
He's actually also missing a toe because he was slightly damaged, and I replaced. I think on his rear right foot, I replaced one of his toes with the talon from a crushing claw Tyranid bit. But unless you're really, 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 really discerning, you can't really tell.
Hell yeah. I'm pulling back up the chat. I think we're clean out there. We should have clean visibles now. Have you been watching back? Has it looked fine now, Chris? Or
I've seen it playing fine on my end. I haven't seen any new commentary on my end, admittedly.
Okay.
However,
I see us now. I was watching the old one that was all glitchy. Okay, I'm tuned in, and I see it's looking fine. All right, so speaking of you painting, Chris, I think we got some Zotes here. What is this you got going on? You've been painting.
So I have we do have people. Thank you, Matthew. I think I look great too.
Yeah.
Alex says as well. So I've got a Zote I've been painting. It's been an interesting model. I've definitely changed the paint scheme on it like 3 times in a row so far. And I've also been painting some of the larger spindle drones. I don't know what they're Guardian drones, I think is what they're called.
Right.
Just them, what's it called? Speaking of alternate games, Blackstone Fortress.
Yep.
Getting in my fix there. I definitely way oversprayed the red glow for the eye on the Ascended drones. So that needs a rework.
It's work in progress.
Yeah, exactly.
It never ends. These Zotes look cool. So tell me a little bit about the Zote dudes here. Can you bring them in 40K?
Yes, actually in close combat, he's got a D6 damage weapon and a D6 damage pistol. He's kind of a heavy hitter. He's a monster. He's under 10 wounds.
What faction does he hang out with?
He is unaligned technically, so any faction can take him, kind of like an Amble or whatever. They are traditionally mercenaries in the 40K universe, though the fluff has basically mostly existed such that they were actually basically a Tyranid experiment. They came into the universe going, help, we're running away from Tyranids. We've been enslaved by them, and, stuff is going badly. And then, the Imperials or whoever other races would try to help them, and they would turn around and start killing the Imperials.
Got you. Well, that's pretty cool, though. Man, speaking of Ambles, that reminds me back of Necromunda, man. That's one of the things you can take is the Ambots.
Dude, those models are sick, actually. I kind of want those.
They are cool. Yeah, so they actually really slap in the game, too. They're one of the few things that have toughness 5. Like, in that game, toughness 3 is really common. And, to get above a 5-up save, you have to work for it. You in fact, when you buy your, the guys in your gang, they don't have any armor. You got to, pay for it in most cases.
Don't you have to, replenish as well in some cases? Isn't there,
army? It depends. It depends on what it is. there's so many different varieties of types, and in fact, you can even get Yeah, like force fields. You can invest into like force field technology or like armor. What's pretty cool is my mercenary guys, and this is part of their Mandalorian like theme. I keep telling everybody like my
This is the
lore.
way.
I'm like, it's Mandalorian meets Batman meets Scooby Doo. I'm like, get into my narrative.
Get into my narrative.
It cracks me up
Weird.
every time. But they have this. It really just gives me excuses to make up all kinds of wacky shit of why I'm taking the busted stuff. Why am I power gaming this? Is because it's my narrative. I swear. But like my guys, what I do is there's the cheapest way to get a great save in that game is I found a workaround, a min-max direct way, and you buy what's called mesh armor, which is a 5-up save. Then you buy underbody armor, which is like +1 to that, and takes you to a 4. And then I use this Xenotech called Ablative Overlay. And it's a Xeno overlay, like a Xeno technology that goes over your armor. And it gives you a +2 to your save the first time you take a save, and then a +1 the second time, and then no benefit the third time you make a save.
So your guys are like
2+ saves.
wearing a lot of clothes. You got like
yeah.
armor and under armor and
no.
over armor.
You're thinking about it too much, Chris. It's Mandalorian. All they do is they put on a special armor on their shoulder, and they put on a cape, and then you get the special
I got
save.
you.
Yeah.
I got you. That makes more sense.
You just put on a cape, dude, and you're there, and then some muscles, and you're good. Yeah, like some of my guys, if you notice, have like Viking hats on and shit. You are definitely a 2-up save when you wear a Viking cap, dude. So.
Makes sense to me. There's 2 horns.
Yep.
Plus
And
2.
so the funny thing in the games that I played so far is that I'm the Scooby Doo element is I'm bounty hunter, so I'm trying to just buy all the weapons that let me capture people and like stun them and shit. And I got this gun called the web pistol, and you basically shoot a net on somebody. and they get so pissed off because they have like this, yeah, I got this big beefy dude, he's coming at you, bro. He's like a 2-up save with a toughness 4, and he's got like all the good shit. Like they just go on and on about all the stuff you have, and you're like, cool, I shoot this web at you. Oh no, you're captured. You can't do anything. And they just like the big guy just lays on the ground and doesn't get to do anything for the whole turn. They get so mad. And when somebody's laying on the ground, you can just walk up and slit their throat. So that turns out these big tough dudes that are strolling down the board, when they get a net on them, you can walk up and just stab them and they die. Because they call it like coup de grace,
So like with the corpse grinder gangs, that's actually been interesting to me with that. Like, so you have the Goliath gang, who is like big, burly, like drugged up, like stemmed up, super badasses. And you have the corpse grinder gang. Have you seen like a lot of difference in how those two gangs play? Because in my head, I'm like, both of these are kind of close combat forces, but I feel like I guess the Goliath gang has more weapons? Question mark.
I haven't got to experience as much. The Goliath, I think, is going to be the main thing about the Goliath is they're more versatile. Is what I'm going to say from my limited knowledge. Corpse grinders have next to no shooting. And they specialize heavily into the combat too. I mean, so do Goliath, but like taking it to another level where, one, they scare people with their crazy mask. That is important. They use fear, and they have like extra charge bonuses. And they have a special skill tree called Savagery, and no one else has access to it. And it lets them do like even more modified things to combat that others can't do. Where Goliath,
I know
they got like grenade launchers and like different types of guns that the corpse grinders don't have.
I know for like the fluff for the corpse grinder, it was something ridiculous. Like they only let like the children in the gang use guns because men fight in close combat.
Yeah.
Like
yeah, I love stuff like, dude, like last night, like there's the Orlocks. I think they're like the trash people of the Underhive. They're like the trash people, and they have they can take like rats and tie like mocktail cocktails to them and like throw rats at people. And
nice.
My buddy, we found like these hilarious like D&D WizKid minis that are like bundles of rats like running down an alleyway. It's just like it's already awesome that like we're hobbying little bombs on top of rats. It's a fun game. Like in that game, you can take a grappling hook and like shoot it through multiple people and drag them. It's awesome. Yeah, it's just awesome. There's like gas. It's so Infinity like though, because so like all the intuition of like how should I approach a situation is such a transfer from Infinity. Like, oh, I have close combat. You have guns. Well, in Infinity, I would throw smoke down so that you can't see me. Well, there's smoke grenades, and you can do that. And there's you can do coordinated orders where you like grab multiple people to operate at the same time. And there's the way that cover operates is the same. It's like, okay, are you in cover? -1 to shoot. Okay, and then there's also range bands, just like Infinity, where there's long and short, or like the good and bad range band, if you will, and you get modifications based on the range band of your weapon that you're within, which is cool. It's really interesting, but the fact that their game has like I think it's a great gateway for people that want to get into Infinity, especially with the new edition, because you're gonna get tired eventually of that campaign. That one, you need a group to play. The game it excels in the campaign experience, and if you struggle to find a group and you're just doing one-off games, it just doesn't have the same. It's not scratching the charm of the game as much. And Infinity is going to excel at that. If you start to be a power gamer amongst your friends, you play the same people all the time, and you want to have a challenge and play competitively, but it's a narrative game that's busted, then you're going to go to Infinity and be stoked, because the skills and the training you've done as far as instincts is a natural, intuitive exchange between the two games, which I'm stoked on. It's literally just Infinity with a D6 system with a narrative unbalanced rule set. And that's fine, because it's fun. If you want to role play, if you want to just like have fun with the craziness of the game. Because again, like gas, it just totally ignores you can have a 2-up armor save and toughness 5 or whatever, but this gas does not care. If you get hit with the gas and it successfully wounds you, you're on the ground. So but what's cool is you can buy a mask. You can buy a ventilator mask. And what's neat about this game is everybody's meta is unique to the people that they play with, and every time they play a campaign, it changes their meta, because you start whooping everybody with gas. Like, you have gas grenades and a grenade launcher. You start just dropping people. They're like, fuck it. Next time I come back, I'm bringing these fucking masks, these ventilator masks,
I suspect that's pretty good against Escher, since one of their house's things is a lot of poison weapons.
Yeah. There's always counters though, like smoke. There's infrared goggles, dude. Like flash grenades, I cannot wait to hit my friends with flash grenades. When they get hit with a flash grenade, their ready token, like their ability to activate, gets taken away. So it's like,
I'm not gonna lie, it sounds pretty cool.
It's badass. Yeah, it's like, oh, you got this big baddie dude who's about to run down this hallway and whoop me in the face. Well, I hit him with a flash grenade, and guess what? He just lost his ability to activate this turn. And if he already has activated, then he doesn't even get to regenerate his activate token on the next round.
So he misses out his next action.
Yeah, it sucks. And so it's an initiative check when that happens. And what I have also is stun grenades. So you hit him with a stun grenade, and that makes them -2 initiative, and basically a 6-up or not even like a 7-up initiative, and they can't even pass it. And then you hit them with the flash, and they automatically just lose their readiness. And you can just walk up there and knock their ass down at that point. It's hilarious. The game has a lot of laughs, and it's a lot of those like, oh my god. But what really got me about the campaign play, and why again the game has charm, is how attached you get to the teams. And like, I've been reading my ass off with Goonhammer is incredible as a resource with Necromunda. Also, there's got to be like 8 books, dude. And there's this one guy out there that took all the books and he made this master document, and it's just a free PDF that's a living document out there. He's like, yo, if you love this game, go buy the book, support it. But he put everything into this one master doc, so you can control F anything across all the books in one place. And it's a big deal, because it's a pain in the ass to switch between all these books, right?
Also, for anyone who's looking at starting Necromunda, it's not a dead game. Games Workshop is still very active in expanding it. We've gotten recently an expansion for the Goliath gang and for the Escher gang, which are the 2 starter box gangs.
Yeah, a bunch of stuff coming. And the amount of terrain they give you in a lot of those box sets too. Plus the boards look amazing. The terrain rules are cool. It's awesome. I gotta say, as far as just the amount of what I was about to say though, Chris, is just the fact of like, when you have how attached you get to your members or your gang, and how when you lose somebody, you could lose them forever. So here's something I really fell in love with is the Goonhammer article I was about to refer to is they really recommend that you try to build a 9-man starting gang, or at least 8 guys. because you have 1,000 points to start out with, and you got to buy your armor and your weapons and your guys. And the thing is, they suggest you build a bigger team because the max team that's going to hit the table is 10. So like when you hit the table, it's like, cool, bring 5 to. It'll say like attacker, bring 5 plus D3 guys. Defender, bring 7 plus D3 guys. It'll say like that's how many you hit. So points once you start, like how much you've invested in a guy, it just goes away. You don't even think about it as far as like, it's just how many dudes you fit on the table, and the more advanced you got of your dudes and the more leveled up they are, the better the guys you're dropping on the table when it comes time. And,
of course, if they die, there's the inherent risk of losing them forever.
Right. And that's the thing, is that when dudes at the end of the game, like every time somebody goes out, you roll some dice, and if you roll the bad result, they're just gone.
Bye.
Yeah. And additionally, the more guys that die or become severely injured in the game, the higher the modification of the roll becomes at the end for your opponent to capture your guys. And they can take your guys from you and have them in their hideout. And as the opposing player, because the campaign system is all about challenges, there's X amount of territories that everyone has, depending on how many players there are, and you're trying to capture all the territories and be the lord of the Underhive, right? And so the person that starts to gather the most territories, people start to challenge him a lot and try to take him down. But if somebody, like, say, steals your guy, then you can challenge them instead of fighting a normal mission that you're going to do a rescue mission. And you come and try to fight them at their hideout. And when you fight them at their hideout, you go through this whole mode of play where your guys, you as the defender, are like have sentries all around your base, and they're basically, you just roll a dice and just see if they like can turn around and like notice anything. And so the other team is trying to go in there silent and sneak around to where the guy's at in the cage, but trying not to be discovered along the way and have the fight break out, you know. But if they don't try to, you can either like ransom the guy back to them and have people pay credits to get their own guy back from you because you stole it in a mission, or you can just slit their throat, or you can sell them on the black market, or you can fucking eat them. You can just cannibalize them because there's meat in that game. And at some point, things get so deranged that money doesn't matter, and all you're trying to do is fight for food, and you have to start cannibalizing.
I feel like
there's cannibal cops, dude. There's cops in that game, and they become cannibal cops. What's more scarier?
When you know that it's like your like buddy's like favorite character, like you kind of have to eat them, right?
Yeah, you can eat them on the battlefield, or you can eat them later. Well, see, Chaos, they just sacrifice them to the Chaos gods, and like all this crazy shit happens. Chaos is constantly just trying to sacrifice people, of course. It's awesome. And we're talking about 5 to 10 models here, but it's very, WYSIWYG centric. People trying to, have the flavor of the game as you progress, like be built into the models. You'll try to have different models represent like the different situations. I'm about to buy this cloak called it's called Falsehood, like a hood, the false hood. And when you put this, you like
sounds like a fake foreskin.
You like that? When you put the hood on, they can't tell whether you're friend or foe, and you can walk amongst them until you reveal yourself, right? And what's funny is in Infinity, there's a thing called the Impersonator, and it's literally like the same kind of mechanic. It's great.
I gotcha.
Yeah, it's great. So I've been in love. I've read a whole bunch of shit. It's really cool. Anybody that wants to get deeper, they should just type in Necromunda Goonhammer, and like Goonhammer breaks it the F down for every single faction, general tactics, and just how to get into that game.
I want to check that out now.
Yeah, I'll send you some resources, Chris. I should probably just grab them. Like I've sent, and there's a Battlegrounds Discord, and it's funny, they put a chat bot in the. You guys know I can type a lot of walls of text when I'm getting on a think rant. Well, in the Battlegrounds Discord, they have a chat bot that like it's like a level up. Like you have level 10 if you like type the most stuff. Like the most active members, they get ranks, and it's kind of like a fun little inner game. Well, I think, not to toot my own horn, but I think I'm #1 ranked in the Battlegrounds Discord. For the guy, I am a tournament organizer of multiple systems. So, keep in mind I am giving a lot of information on how Crusade works and the 40K Tournament League and how Age of Sigmar Tournament League.
This guy's cheating.
But I sure do talk a lot on there. I've pinned some very relevant resources to the Necromunda 40K and Age of Sigmar channels. As an admin of the Discord, I've pinned a lot of great resources in there, and it's pretty cool. For people that are looking to play Crusade, one of my good friends, Scott Hutchings, Black Carapace Studios, James actually did his logo design. He made us some incredible spreadsheets for the Crusade, where literally like this would be like Patreon level access to like get such a cool spreadsheet, but he just gave it to the world. It's amazing, and it just organizes and does all of these different equations for as you're leveling up in the Crusade system. It does a lot of automatic math for you. And shows great rankers and everything. It's been awesome. We're like 36 people deep or whatever in our Crusade here locally at Battlegrounds, doing social distancing, organized play, which has been an adventure. I was telling you guys, I've been playing more games than ever with these pod systems. It's been wild.
Pod people.
Yeah, pod people. Oh, you know what? You know what? Also, to speak of the tournament league, guys, is it finished the first season. Yeah, big news. Excuse me. But yeah, we had the very first. It took us. We started July 1st, and it took us till just a couple days ago. But finally, season 1, we have 8 unique winners for our tournament league.
Woo! Who made it? Call them out.
Oh man, why am I not ready for this, dude?
Call them out.
I'm not ready,
dude. Hey, boo this man.
Wait.
Boo this man.
I can do it. Oh, I can do it. Damn it. I'm going. Yeah, we got 8 unique winners, and I made it finally. I played 13 pods. I tried. I lost the most.
Took this man 13 tries, but he did it, dude. Hey,
yeah.
You ever hear the story of the Cleaner 409 and how that was invented?
No.
Because that guy tried to make like a cleaner for like some scientist dude that was like, he had to make some cleaner stuff.
Yeah.
He tried all these different formulas, and the 409th one was the winner, and that's how it got its name, 409. And it's called Formula 409.
Did you know that Albert Hoffman made it LSD trying to make a headache medicine?
Makes sense, bro.
Trying to make some aspirin, and he just tripped his nuts.
That sounds great.
Yeah, also pretty cool. But yeah, that definitely relates to this tournament league. And
let's get these unique winner names, bro.
Right. Okay, I got it. We got, I got it. It's Jason when he won with Eldari. Austin Wingfield got in there with Chaos, the main. Ooh. And crazy enough, I got in there with demons. I did not expect it. My demon list has been doing some really weird, like, just work. It's every time I go into the game, I'm like, I lost. I'm like, okay, it just won really well. Daniel Kennedy won with some AdMech. Sean Sundberg, he got in there with Salamanders.
Nice.
Dustin got in there with White Scars.
Ooh.
Daniel Booth got in there with Orcs. And
Casey,
and then Casey got in there with Sisters of Battle. So demons, sisters, orcs, AdMech, White Scars.
That is the
Chaos.
Most beautiful 8-man tournament I've ever heard of.
Eldari, yeah, pretty sick, dude. And all of them have already gone undefeated in 3 rounds of a individual pod.
Dude,
and here's
so sexy.
Check out how I'm doing the breakdown of the finals. So the finals is going to be here's the pressure. First round is single elimination. So you may have won 3 rounds, but if you don't win your 4th game, you are out of the running. But after that, the next 4 people that'll be left, whoever loses round 2 will fight in a round 3 for 3rd. So it's not going to be about like how high you scored or anything like that. Round 1, if you don't win, you're out. Round 2, if you lose,
elimination.
You're fighting for 3rd place, and if you win, you're fighting for 1st or 2nd in round 3, just straight up. So the unlike usual, where it's just single elimination, the people in round 2 that lose will still go into round 3 with a chance to fight for 3rd place, and 3rd, 2nd, and 1st are what pays out. I believe it's like $200, $100, 50, $60, 200 and a 60. So like 50. What is that math? Like 75, 50, 25, whatever.
That sounds like enough money to start a Necromunda army with.
Oh yeah, you could definitely get. If you go Infinity, you get all the way up in there. They're selling entire 300-point armies for $100 now, because they're available. But that's pretty awesome, right? And we're already in season 2, and we're already almost halfway there so it went all the way to pod 13 because
so
Austin.
Even if like you're number 4, you don't get paid out on, but you definitely get like a lot of games in.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you played a lot of games. What's nuts is Austin and Sean, they were able to win multiple times, enough that we couldn't just get 8 unique winners in just 8 pods. We had to go all the way up to pod 12 before we got to 8 unique winners, and now pod 13, 14, and 15 are all active and fighting for season 2. And
that just seems greedy.
Here's the wild thing, guys, is that if I would have lost my pod 7 game, my pod 13 match would have been brought into the season 1, and that would have been my winning list. Because it was weird. I tried for 2 months to win, and I lost, and in the last 3 days of the event, I won 2 pods in a row. And I won pod 13 and the final pod of season 1, and so that got demons into season 1, and now I've already qualified with Space Wolves in season 2.
Ooh, this guy.
So pretty wild. So now I can officially kind of sit on the sidelines while it continues to play out, because I'm in this finals, and now my first finals game is Sunday versus the Salamanders, who have beat me every time. Yep.
Ooh, Sally's gonna slap you, bro.
Demons versus Salamanders. The thing is 1,000 points of my army comes in from reserve with 3d6 charges. And so I just basically hit really hard all at once, and if it works, it works. And so far, it's worked really well.
Don't forget about the scans before you come in. If you come in
Auspex.
within 12, you're getting shot at.
Yeah, unless I'm behind some obscuring. But yeah, I get it.
You should wear a false hood.
Yeah,
maybe
a
they'll
false
stick
hood.
with Salamander.
Dude, get the false foreskin.
Dude, it's been so nasty though, and it's on the channel for that. Every bat rep that we've done with the demons so far has been nuts. Like, how did this happen? They did some crazy work in my buddy's orcs the other day, and it was he rolled bad and just things went terrible for him on a lot of ways, but it just got really expounded by because the thing that on the board turn 1 is a Keeper of Secrets, an Exalted Keeper of Secrets, Celeste, a Contorted Epitome, a Demon of Prince of Corn with a Skull Reaver Axe.
George, just
Yeah.
you know, on
Yeah.
the stream, it's
Yeah.
like this infinity of you.
Oh, really?
Things, yeah.
Oh, let me fix it. Should
It's
be
a
better.
George, and then a smaller George, and then a smaller George.
Oh wait, I gotta do this. Right, I think it's because I'm so in the zone of my own thoughts here. I'm in my own world. There, you guys are back. You guys are back.
No way.
Yeah, you're back now.
Oh, wow.
You guys are cool. Thanks for letting me rant at you every week for 118 weeks.
This guy, he loves gaming, guys. He takes
Yeah.
it real serious.
Yeah. I'm
Do you
just
say we're back? Because I'm seeing more like little screens within the little
it's taking its time. You know, I'm watching now the preview. I see you guys. It's cool.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Wow. Good job,
Okay.
dude.
You know, guys, I'm sorry I talk so much. I want to hear from you guys right now. I want but give me some deep inside knowledge to what's going on in your lives, you know?
So,
Damn it, George.
Well, that got awkward quick. Oh man.
for those of you listening that don't know, if you spell strap-on backwards, it's no parts.
Oh wow, I did not know that. Dude. God, that's good stuff. I won't ever forget it.
Dude,
Yo,
are you
James.
serious?
I never thought about that. No
Spell
parts.
this out for me.
Oh, dang. Chris, no, James,
Ah.
you had mentioned about struggling to be creative. And that is
Yeah.
a subject we could
Dude,
rant
it's not
about.
even necessarily struggling to be creative, all right?
Mm.
So I had the creative struggles,
Yeah.
and I got through that. Now I'm on like, I want to paint. I got time to paint.
Yeah.
So I paint. But the thing is when I come up to trim, I'm like, fuck that shit. Give me the next model.
Yeah.
And I just stop. And
Yeah.
I just don't want to do trim right now. I don't know if it's my brushes. Like, my tips aren't the greatest right now. They're a little frayed. I could update them. But I know I've done better, like tinier detail with worse brushes.
Right.
So I know it's not necessarily the brushes. It's just
Yeah.
like the concentration of like zoning. I don't know what it is, man. But personally, fucking hate trim.
Well, isn't this exactly what paint studios do though? They grow to a level where like somebody gets to your point where they got a huge backlog and they're like, I see a bunch of money sitting here. If I could just get this trim done. And they're like, you know what? Let's do some math. Who could I hire to do this trim work, this monkey work here? This doesn't take any creative decision. It means you just gotta stay in the line, not fuck up. So you just
Yeah,
hire.
but it's so tiny. That's hard to get someone that's like that focused anymore.
I mean, I just think that like doing the shading and doing lighting effects, like that's.
Oh, dude, see, that's what I'm jamming out on right
Oh, I know, but that's like the artist in you. You're bored with the stay in between the lines. I'm
I
happy
hate to stay in between. I don't want to be in between lines anymore. I'm tired of it.
If I'm staying in between the lines and make it, I'm like, damn, I killed it, and that's hard.
Yeah, I'm like, I could stay in between the lines, but I don't want to do it.
You just need to find somebody desperate. You just find somebody really desperate to.
That right there, like a little bit of trim on that. I don't want to even fuck with for base coating.
Yeah,
fuck it.
You need a lackey, dude. There's bound to be one. Right now, we call upon you, the internet. If you want to have James hire you for a very not a good rate. Because
I already charged the cheapest of prices.
There is no money to be made, but it will be nice of you, and James would get more work done and be appreciated. Staying in between the lines for followers, not leaders.
I like
nice.
It,
I like that.
He gets it.
Good to see him.
He gets it.
That's solid. Well, what I was going to mention, but I don't think it really applies, James. I was thinking of the artist way. There was a guy. There's a music producer out there called Il Gates, and he has a music production class he calls the Dojo. He has been going on. Yeah.
Did you say his name is Billy Gates?
No, Il Gates, bro.
Il Gates.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah. Gates is a music effect that you do, and Bill Gates. It's funny, play on words. But he has a course called Il Methodology. Okay. And it was all about how to stay creative when making music, and it applies to a lot of things in art. And it came kind of built off of The Artist's Way, a very popular book that a lot of artists have read over the years. And it's just about being able to organize your mind and your time to separate manual, tedious tasks from your creative space, and that whenever you can, there's certain moments in your week and in your day that you have the most creative insight, or it's just like your natural flow to get shit done. And if you're spending that time doing things that are tedious and not fun, then your creativity gets squeltered, and you don't do anything. Like the trim,
That's literally my life right now. You just got deep into my soul. You climbed up in there, and you cummed all around.
When you're editing like a hi-hat riff and just listening to the on loop and just listening to a kick snare in your head like over and over again, trying to make this fucking thing get on time, it can be very, very tedious and not good for creating something that's cool. So he would organize his creativity or what he needed to do as an artist into daytime and nighttime sessions is what he would call it. And he would save the moments like before you go to work. Okay, I got an hour before work. I wake up in the morning, go to work in an hour. For an hour, I could fuck with something. That's not the time you try to sit back and get creative into the creativity zone. That's the time you do some bullshit work that just bites that one bite at a time off the elephant kind of thing,
Dude, and that's truly where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
Like you're describing it, dude. Like, are you like me right now, bro?
It's the artist's way, dog. You're an art, I'm an artist. People that create things, it's the same shit.
Dude,
whether it's music
so crazy
or
how you're describing it. It's like that's exactly what it is.
It's the same.
Like
shit.
I used to just straight up sit down and get into the flow state and just kill shit, and now it's just like, dude, I'm stuck on just tedious bullshit. And to finish these projects, I must do the tedious bullshit, but I don't want to do it. Yeah. And I can sit here with a model in hand, brush in hand, and if I don't just decide to like take the small bites off the elephant, I may waste 3 hours just staring off into nothingness.
Yeah.
Because I just can't do it.
Maybe it would help, and this is just a random suggestion, but what if it was like you had to get excited about something else that you're doing that you're not really, you just turn your mind off.
That's fishing, bro.
Podcast I'm saying like while you do the work, No,
it's just fishing. I leave and I go fishing.
Can you do trim? Can you do trim while you fish? Do trim while you fish.
You know what, dude? If my hands didn't start to smell like fish from touching all the fish I catch and like fucking with bait, I probably could.
Because you're just chilling. You're just chilling.
Yeah. I probably could, like, while I'm catfishing, pull out a lantern, throw the bait in the water, and just like work on a model, no problem.
Yeah, while you're sitting there bullshitting, drinking beer, whatever, right?
Yeah. I would totally do that for my own models, but I don't think I could do that one for somebody else.
Well, just add it to your contract. Be like, hey, heads up, I'll take your commission. It's going to be a really fair price, but your models might smell weird. It might smell like fish or catfish bait.
Or I might lose them and break them, because like I get a fish on, dude. I'm not caring about the model anymore.
Fish out!
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Sure.
but that's where I'm at. Is like I was in a creative funk, and you not need to find something else to drive that creativeness out of you. And I started doing a lot of fishing, and honestly, like I want to paint more now. But then I sit down to paint, and I'm like, I'll paint any of this shit. It's so much fun, but not trim.
Yeah.
And then it's like I just sit here. I'm like, man, I'd rather go fishing. And then I go fish, and I come back, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do something else. Fuck this trim.
Yeah.
Like, how the fuck did I ever paint two of these fucking things? Like, I don't understand.
It was because it was yours, right? It was because you were more
because they were
passionate
mine.
and motivated. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what it was. Is because they were mine.
Passion drives you.
If they weren't mine, I'd probably be like, dude, fuck yourself.
You know, I just saw I saw a guy make a board, and he was making an MDF, a kilting board or whatever, and he took out the MDF terrain, and he had all these little like punch out squares that he had, and he does a time lapse video of him spending like 6 hours just putting these little tiny MDF cobblestones down on his board, and he was like, I wanted to kill myself while I did this, but I did it because I was just so happy with the result. And it's just whenever you do something you're passionate about, even like making a song where you listen to that stupid beat on repeat or painting slits or trim on your Helldrake, like you can get it done when you're passionate about it. And usually, like I think a lesson to be learned when you realize you hate trim that much and it's fucking causing that much grief, that next time you know to charge a fuck ton for it, because money motivates at least. And if there was enough dollar on that trim that made it be like, all right, fuck it, then I mean that works for me anyways. I know that because I do a lot of lessons for people and help do troubleshooting. And I do installs on lighting and sound and shit like that. And if it's a shitty job, then I'm charged, like running cables through the ceiling. Like when a church or some place wants you to like hide the cable management and they want you to like crawl through a crawl space and shit, it's gonna be expensive. I'm gonna say a lot of money right up front because I'm not doing that shit for too cheap again. Same kind of thing for trim. It's just James's trim price needs to go up, man.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe that. Something to think about. Because you like say, take your gold or your copper or whatever and paint your own trim on there. I made it shaded and pretty. Like, don't fuck up or send it back to me.
Do everything but trim for people.
It's another alternative. It's a dog eat dog world. We're just trying to make it buy out here.
Oh,
just like give them back their model with one of those like gold Sharpie markers. Feel like there you go.
I know a lot of painters that won't build. There's a lot of painters that won't build. They're like, I hate building. I won't do it.
Really? Because I love building. Building's fun for me.
See, there's two different type of people, man. I got my buddy Brandon, who is a builder for commission. He's a commission builder, and all of his clients are just commission painters. And all he does is build models for their commissions for them to paint.
Dude, one of our homies that gets all of his stuff commission painted, I am his regular go-to, like, build me my shit so I can send it to a commission painter because they're going to charge me like between 15 to like 25% just for building it.
They're doing the tax that we're talking about. They're doing just like we're talking about the trim tax. If you send your commission painter work to trim or build, then you might get jacked up,
That's so funny because I enjoy building, so I don't even charge extra to build shit.
Yeah.
I do too. Honestly, especially for models that I don't like get to normally interact with. Like I got to build a Mortarion. I was like, it's a model I'll never get to build ever again.
Like, the only time I'm charging to build is if I'm customizing. Like if I have to green stuff something, I have to add LEDs or I'm building terrain features for like a display board.
Yeah.
That's different. But if I'm just putting a model together, I prefer to build it because I can sub-assemble it so it's easier for me to paint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, Roble says it's okay if they smell like fish, dude, because you're painting his Death Guard up. So
man, he wants me to. He's literally gifting an entire commission painted army and display board to like a little cousin.
Oh my gosh!
He wants me to paint it all.
Well, it sounds like you can paint the trim while you're fishing, dude. He doesn't care if it smells.
Dude, well, the great thing about like trim for Nurgle is a lot of times it's all fucked up anyways, so it's pretty easy.
Yeah, Towdark says he just needs a professional mold line remover. It's the worst to hunt the crap down, only to find one you miss halfway through painting the model.
Oh, that's a true story.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of the build part too, yeah.
Yeah, so I will typically remove my mold lines, but if models come already built, I don't remove them. Because, like, you already built it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've definitely fallen into that trap more than once.
Man, that's one thing about Infinity. I hate to act like I have any sort of resource on hobbing, but There is a shit ton of those with those metal models. There's lots of little flash, like I guess flash is essentially mold lines, right? Yeah.
Yes.
You got to clean a lot of that shit off there for sure, especially even just to get the shit to fit together, like the joints and whatnot. Man, I had a good ass time playing Infinity today. Let me tell you guys, I don't want to get too ranty on that, but it was fun.
So how about them 6 damage last cannons?
Yeah, that sure was a fun article.
What?
Chris posted this super trolly Frontline Gaming article that was about they were basically talking in satire about how busted like all these like here's what it feels like kind of is what they presented as the 40K player hearing all the news about the new Space Marine shit.
Yeah.
And apparently like that it's a satire when they start saying 3 wound Space Marines because we know 2 Marine Space Marines are coming. And is it going to be 3 wound Terminators though? Are we hearing that?
I believe that is accurate, but there was just like a lot of like just trolling this FLG throughout, which like it's difficult because if anyone's gonna have an inside scoop, Frontline is probably one of the organizations to get it from.
Yeah.
But they're like, all Marines are going to 3 wounds, which we know is not accurate. They're like last cannons are all gonna be 6 damage now. Rhinos are gonna have 20 wounds.
Yeah,
they went nuts with it.
Yeah, there was a few like Easter eggs of how you could be like, no, that's not right. Like the heavy bolter was like 1 shot instead of 3, and I don't think it's going to be that. But yeah, it was just talking more about how the power creep, is or like we're about to get all these new ways that the Space Marines are going to be interacting with the game, and we don't know what that is all going to be hashed out to be yet, and we don't know what the response or how long that response is going to be before other factions kind of meet that same equivalent, right? And if Space Marines are let's say that they were kind of we know they're going to raise in points somewhere around 20% is what is rumored to be. Mm-hmm. And that, there's for years now, there's always been the freak out on a profile, like, oh, this profile, it's so good or it's so bad or whatever. And it is literally about how much points something is really dictates the majority of its strength. Because if it's overcosted for what it does, then it's not worth it, So if Space Marines could field as much as they can now with the power that we know is coming to them, which is two wound profiles, then we'd be in big trouble because they're already extremely gross. But hopefully there's some nerfage to go with that, and it sounds like Space Marines are going to be closer to behaving like they do in the lore, where they're a lot more like threatening as in a very elite force. 1 Marine should be able to take on a whole bunch of people usually. A bolter is supposed to be a weapon to be feared, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean they are, and I mean Marines should be good, but as I think this is something we alluded to last time, like it's all supposed to be like 5 Space Marines taking on an army. Like we see like 50 Space Marines fighting another force of like 50 models and slapping.
Yeah, yeah. I hope the Salamanders don't slap me. I'll tell you that.
I definitely hope they, with the
They're
codex.
Slap you real hard.
I'm afraid. Dude, you know what's weird about that demon list is it hits the table with 0 command points.
Dude, you know what's awesome about that demon list?
What?
Is that they ignore, like Salamanders ignore neg 1 AP, and you're gonna throw a lot of neg 3 AP at it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that is nice, isn't it? It works. It's crazy how hard it hits, man. And dude, the blood crusher. I have 2 units of 8 blood crushers and a 20 mana bloodletters, but the blood crushers hit so hard with that mortal wound strat because it's a 2+. You cause single mortal wounds, and on a 6 you do D3. And if you kill what you hit, then you can charge again. And I've had that pretty much turn games upside down every time I've done it.
So you're just throwing D6 mortal wounds per unit?
No, it's 1 mortal wound. It's per guy, but if you roll a 6, it's D3 mortal wounds. So if you roll like
per
5,
guy.
Yeah, per guy. So I run 2 8-man squads. I usually bring them in 1 turn 2, 1 turn 3, so I can use the strat each time. And I do a 3d6 as I hit. Sometimes if I want to just take over the whole board and they give it to me, then I'll bring them both. I'll bring everything down at once, and that's happened too. But I pretty much when that drops on turn 2, the game has been over. Like every time it's happened, I'm like, holy shit.
So you can do anywhere between 8 to like 32 wound or 24 wounds, so just mortals before you even go in.
Yeah, and if you kill the target, you get to charge again, which you don't get to mortal again on the next charge, but you still hit another unit. And what's nasty is the mounts. There's strength 8 on the mounts, and you know the riders are like strength 6 on the charge with unstoppable ferocity without a guy around, and their you know 6s do 2 damage, right? Or is it mortal wounds?
It's 1 damage and then 2 damage on 6s.
Exactly, yeah. So you got that going for you with a -3, and then you're hitting with a strength 8 weapons off their mounts, which is usually slaps down the bigger vehicles or the bigger targets you got to hit. When you combine that with the mortals, it does enough of the output to bring them down, and then you always got to fight twice if you need to.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So it works great. So usually the thing is that you hit the table with 0 command points, and you're literally saving your command points to just do that strat, to drop and pop them.
So I played a 1,000 points game with my World Eaters, and it was kind of cool because I ran 2 characters and then like 3 units of Berserkers, 2 Rhinos, and 2 Helldrakes. So on the board, it's just 2 Rhinos, 2 Helldrakes.
Did you play that on the teeny tiny board, the 40?
No, I played it on the big board.
Oh, dude, if you play that on the tiny board, you will just nut. That's what a 1,000 board is. That's what a 1,000 point is supposed to be on. You know.
Simon was preparing for a team tournament that was going to be played on a bigger board.
Okay.
So we decided to try out our 1,000 points halves on a bigger board to see how they would operate.
You still did the 60 by 44 though, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I've been loving that board size too.
Well, dude, I'm just really a big fan of Helldrakes right now, bro.
Yeah, that's cool. I get it. I mean, that flame. I've been still wanting to try them. They've been sparking my curiosity.
Dude,
for sure.
They are the Flamer is more expensive or less expensive than the Hades cannon. And what's really sweet is just how fast they move. Like everything they did in 8th edition, but because they can still fire in combat and they can leave the board if, like, let's say they have 1 wound left and come back on the board.
Yeah.
And like still get the fire and stuff.
Or a character snipe. Is the Flamer? Yeah, it's long. It's like 8. It's longer than
18-inch range.
Yeah, so you can totally drop in and hit somebody assassinate style.
Yeah, and it's neg 2 AP, 2 damage, man.
Yeah. That's solid. I think it's super fun. I really want to try to bring those back for sure. I'd like to play with those too.
Well, 2 of them took out a 5-man unit of destroyers on both shooting and combat because now I'm not worried about Overwatch.
Yeah.
So like they were able to nuke that unit just first turn,
you know,
and then continue to be the screen as everything else was able to move up.
It's not always you're going to get the opportunity. They're going to try your hardest, but that is a unit that like obliterators or broadsides, for instance, are 2 units that can't shoot in combat because they're not monsters or vehicles, but shooting are absolutely devastating. And if you can turn those guys off with that fucking, you just saved your ass from some major firepower from the enemy with just your Helldrake, you know?
Dude, not just that, but blast weapons can't shoot in combat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like. Dude, you can just run into so many different tanks and just turn off their fucking blasts while you're moving up the board with things that would die easily to those blasts.
Yeah.
Like, big fan of Helldrakes right now. But you have to run more than 1. You just can't run 1. It'll die.
Kill Marines too.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, they do not kill Marines very well.
They were in that article.
Fuck what GW says. They suck at killing Marines. Yeah. They get like 3 with the shooting, and then maybe the other 2 in combat, and that's it.
And it's only gonna get harder.
So yeah, I'm not. They're not the best killing machines, but the thing that's sweet about them is like the fact that they can get everywhere and use all their weapons almost all the time.
Dude, all they need is one. Or if you give them just one stratagem that ups their killing, all of a sudden.
Dude, I used it in Overwatch, bro. I was like, "Fuck yeah, I'm gonna Overwatch with this fucking thing." Guaranteed hits.
Hell yeah, I dig it.
Yeah, it's 18-inch flamer, bro. That's 2 damage. How do you not Overwatch with that thing?
Yeah. Plus, you can come in. You know, they can easily go on top of a high building or something as well. Oh, you know what?
Because there's no longer the if it fits it sits rule, right?
Yeah, not necessarily. There's there's no. I can't say there's a boots on the ground either anymore.
I have not read anything.
I have not read any boots on the ground, just as a thing to think about.
Nothing but Helldrakes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I was going to mention that something else that we've done recently is I've started to reintroduce the ITC terrain back to the table. And, something we were hotly contesting early on is like, how do we use our old Nova L's and our old just wally, very, very wall-like terrain. I think it is very clear now, and not just a hypothesis, that the rules for the terrain is very much written around GW terrain. And when you think of a GW ruin, they don't come with bases. GW doesn't sell bases with their ruins. And it's the players that do that for stability and for a more defined area terrain. And also, their ruins are extremely window heavy or porous, and they have multi-levels, right? So unfortunately, the Nova L's don't provide the level part of it. But based on a Signals of the Frontline Gaming podcast, was what got me to feel comfortable kind of following the trend that they laid out. But they were describing that the area terrain that's on a Nova L, you treat just as area terrain and not give the obscuring rule to like the flat ground that is the area terrain that extends beyond the silhouette of the L, and that the L itself is the only thing that does the obscuring rule. And in order to make that wall is too oppressive if it is just a wall, because there's still true line of sight in the game. You still got to be able to see the model, but when you're playing with a GW ruin, you almost always can see the model. The moment that you touch the wall, you can see through it because there's windows all through it. So as long as you play that when you touch the Nova L, the wall itself, that you can see through it as if there's windows all the way around, then it operates in a natural way as if you were using GW terrain. And then if you just treat the area terrain as to area terrain and not in and of itself allowing you to see by stepping into the area, you have to actually touch the wall, and then you can see through the wall. And that's worked really well. And I'm going to continue to probably use that on the channel. It feels just like it should, So it's pretty cool.
I think you should take a knife to it and cut little windows.
Yeah, I thought it would be way easier just to say you can see.
No, I want you to go through and stab a bunch of shit. Give some good old stabbing.
A pencil and make pencil whorls.
To theme it up, you can just be like, well, that's what happens in warfare.
Yeah, Mike's
see through the wall.
Mike's cracking up in the chat there. He's like, if you play with the Seraptic with George's rules, you have to place the terrain 8.5 inches away from the edge or other terrain features. Because I had to make custom rules for our scene, and I made it so that you have to spread out the terrain so that every model can go around every piece of terrain, and so the spacing of the terrain and from the board edge and other pieces is the distance of the biggest model on the table. So if somebody brings
a Seraptic for being so large,
somebody brings a Seraptic or a Brass Scorpion, then the distance that you're required to make space between the table edge and other pieces is that big, to a minimum of 4 inches, and that has worked very well for our scene and allowed us to play up to 6 ruins. In our meta, we're doing about 9 to 11 pieces of terrain, which feels good. It's depending on the players and the size of the models on the table. Yeah, nerf Seraptic, more pylon. More pylon. Well, it's 10:11. We've been jamming. We've been cruising. We had some technical difficulties. I forgot to plug in my cable. That was my fault. James is tired of doing trim. Chris has been painting shit, and it's awesome. And I played a lot of games, and there's more games coming. Yeah.
I got 10 pieces of terrain on my table.
That's good. That's solid. That's nice.
It is GW, so I don't got to pretend.
That's good. It's nice not to pretend. Yeah, so heads up, Saturday is me playing Bloodthirsters versus Keeper of Secrets. It's going to be Age of Sigmar pod, Korn versus Slanesh, and that's going to be a pretty badass battle. I know he's bringing 3 Keepers, and I'm bringing 5 Bloodthirsters, so see that on the channel on Saturday. And then Sunday is the first finals match on camera, and what you're going to see if your boy gets eliminated. Like I said, you lose round 1 of the finals, you're out.
You got to win, George. You got to win.
Dude, if the Demons beat the Salamanders, I'm going to be fucking ecstatic. So let's see what happens. That's Sunday, and I think that's all that I can remember on the schedule for now. So Saturday, Sigmar. Sunday is 40K finals. I hope to see our friends there, man. It was a good time, though, and I hope everybody keeps taking fun seriously. Because we're going to get out of here, yeah?
Yeah, sounds
Warp
good.
charge.
All right. Until next
Super
time.
fun, super serious.
118 is over. See you for 100.